that forever connected our two nations. For while we may have been divided by distance, we're united by the same democratic values.
Can Kenya opt for the U.S. over China? With the U.S. taking over, it appears that Biden is attempting to rectify past errors. After 16 years without any African leader visiting the U.S., he has extended an invitation to Kenya's leader, Ruto. However, critics argue that this gesture holds no long-term promise and is merely a political action with the approaching U.S. elections. So, does this path offer any lasting prospects? Let's find out. African leaders in the U.S. are not something we see so often. And now President William Ruto's state visit to the United States marks a significant milestone, as it is the first by a Kenyan leader in over 2 decades, and the first by an African leader in 16 years. This visit highlights Kenya's growing importance in the geopolitical landscape and highlights the potential for renewed U.S. engagement with Africa. The timing of the visit is particularly noteworthy, occurring amidst criticisms of President Joe Biden's administration for not prioritizing Africa in its foreign policy agenda. Ruto's visit provides an opportunity for the Biden administration to address these criticisms and demonstrate a commitment to strengthening ties with African nations. With the U.S. elections on the horizon, this visit also serves as a strategic move for Biden to bolster his foreign policy credentials and showcase tangible efforts in engaging with African leaders. The high-profile nature of the visit, including Ruto's choice to charter a luxury jet, further emphasizes the importance both leaders place on this diplomatic engagement. As President Ruto meets with President Biden, the discussions will encompass critical issues such as investments, debt relief, and security cooperation. The outcomes of these discussions are expected to have significant implications for both U.S.-Kenya relations and the broader geopolitical dynamics in East Africa. This historic visit signals a potential turning point in the partnership between the two nations. Before talking about the motivated President Biden to invite President Ruto, let's talk about the criticism of Biden. How has President Biden's administration been criticized regarding Africa? President Joe Biden's administration has faced significant criticism for its perceived neglect of Africa in its foreign policy agenda. Since taking office, Biden has been preoccupied with domestic issues such as the COVID-19 pandemic, economic recovery, and political polarization, as well as international challenges like relations with China, Russia, and Europe. As a result, Africa has not been a prominent focus, leading to concerns about the U.S. losing influence on the continent. Critics argue that the Biden administration's lack of engagement with Africa has allowed other global powers, particularly China, to strengthen their foothold. China's Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) has seen substantial investment in African infrastructure, giving Beijing considerable economic and political leverage. This has raised alarms in Washington about the strategic implications of Chinese influence, particularly in resource-rich and geopolitically significant countries like Kenya. Additionally, Africa's dynamic demographic and economic growth makes it a crucial player on the global stage. The continent's young population, burgeoning markets, and natural resources present significant opportunities and challenges that require active engagement from major powers. By not prioritizing Africa, Biden risks missing out on these opportunities and weakening the U.S.'s strategic position. So, after all this, what's the reason for giving Africa importance now? Is this visit a strategic move ahead of the U.S. elections? With the U.S. presidential elections looming, President Biden's invitation to President Ruto can be seen as a strategic move to bolster his foreign policy credentials and address criticisms regarding Africa. Engaging with a key African leader like Ruto serves multiple purposes for Biden's administration. First, it signals a commitment to renewing and strengthening U.S.-Africa relations. By hosting Ruto, Biden demonstrates that Africa is not being overlooked and that the U.S. values its partnerships on the continent. This is particularly important for maintaining the support of African American voters and other constituents who are concerned about global justice and equity. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Second, the visit provides an opportunity for Biden to showcase tangible achievements in foreign policy. Positive outcomes from the visit, such as investment deals, debt relief agreements, and security cooperation, can be highlighted as successes in his administration's diplomatic efforts. This can help counter the narrative that Biden has been ineffective on the international stage and bolster his image as a leader capable of fostering important global partnerships. Third, the visit helps to counter China's influence in Africa. By engaging directly with African leaders and addressing their economic and security needs, the U.S. can offer a viable alternative to Chinese investment and assistance. This is crucial for reasserting American influence and ensuring that African nations have balanced options in their international partnerships. And what does President Ruto aim to achieve with this visit? Let's not forget Ruto made this trip on the luxury jet. So, why did President Ruto charter a luxury jet for this trip? President Ruto's decision to charter a luxury jet for his U.S. trip, costing $1.5 million, underscores the importance he places on this diplomatic engagement. This move reflects his proactive approach to international diplomacy and signals his intent to secure significant outcomes from the visit. It also highlights Ruto's preference for projecting a strong and confident image on the global stage, demonstrating that Kenya is a nation that demands and deserves attention and respect. Anyways, what's the reason for the visit? Kenya is grappling with substantial economic challenges, including a significant debt burden, much of it owed to China. The country's debt has been growing due to extensive borrowing for infrastructure projects and other development initiatives. This has led to concerns about Kenya's debt sustainability and its ability to meet its financial obligations without compromising economic growth. President Ruto aims to address these challenges by seeking better deals with China and the U.S. His agenda includes discussions on investments and debt relief, emphasizing the need for a fairer international financial system that supports sustainable development for countries like Kenya. By engaging with the U.S., Ruto hopes to secure concessional loans and investment deals that can alleviate Kenya's debt burden and foster economic growth. What topics are President Ruto and President Biden discussing? During their meeting, President Ruto and President Biden are covering a range of topics crucial to both nations. These include investments, debt relief, and economic cooperation. These discussions are pivotal for Kenya's economic recovery and growth, as well as for strengthening bilateral relations. Security issues in East Africa, particularly the threat of Al-Shabaab, are also high on the agenda. The instability in the region poses significant challenges, and discussions are expected to focus on strategies to enhance security and stability. Additionally, troop deployments in Haiti and other regional security concerns are likely to be addressed. Are there specific commitments or deals expected from this meeting? The meeting between President William Ruto of Kenya and President Joe Biden of the United States is expected to result in several significant commitments and agreements, reflecting high expectations on both sides. A major focus of President Ruto's visit is to secure concessional loans and investment deals. These loans, which come with lower interest rates and more favorable terms, can greatly assist Kenya in managing its debt and boosting its economy. Investment deals, particularly from American companies, could drive growth in key sectors such as infrastructure, healthcare, education, technology, agriculture, renewable energy, and manufacturing. These investments are crucial for job creation and technological advancement in Kenya. Another critical area of discussion is Kenya's debt situation. President Ruto aims to negotiate terms that could provide relief from the country's debt burdens. This might involve restructuring existing debt or securing new, more manageable financing options. These discussions are essential for maintaining Kenya's fiscal health and ensuring sustainable development. President Ruto has been vocal about the need for a fairer international financial system that benefits developing nations. During his visit, he emphasized this point and sought support from U.S. officials for reforms that could lead to more equitable financial conditions for countries like Kenya. This includes advocating for changes in the operations of international financial institutions to ensure they do not impose overly burdensome terms on developing economies. Beyond financial and economic issues, the meeting is expected to strengthen the overall relationship between Kenya and the United States. This could include agreements on security cooperation, trade partnerships, and educational exchanges. Enhancing these ties is beneficial for both countries, promoting mutual growth and stability. And how does Kenya's relationship with China impact its dealings with the US? There are two perspectives given, one by the West and one by reality. Let's talk about the Western narrative. Strengthening ties with the US. Kenya aims to diversify its economic partnerships and reduce its reliance on Chinese loans, thereby improving its financial stability. The substantial debt Kenya owes to China has become a driving force for President Ruto's pursuit of more favorable financial arrangements with other global powers. This strategy includes seeking concessional loans and investment deals from the US, which offer more manageable terms compared to the Chinese loans. By forging stronger economic ties with the US, Kenya aims to diversify its sources of financial support, thereby reducing its dependency on any single nation and enhancing its overall financial stability. Additionally, the collaboration with the US is expected to extend beyond financial agreements. By expanding economic partnerships, Kenya seeks to attract investments from American companies in various sectors such as technology, agriculture, and renewable energy. This diversification is crucial for creating jobs, boosting technological advancement, and fostering sustainable economic growth. So, in a nutshell, West says, Kenya's significant debt to China has prompted President Ruto to seek better deals from other global powers, including the US. By strengthening ties with the US, Kenya aims to diversify its economic partnerships and reduce its reliance on Chinese loans, thereby improving its financial stability. However, the perspective is more nuanced. China's involvement in Africa has brought substantial benefits, including infrastructure development, investment in various sectors, and favorable trade agreements. For the US to effectively compete and establish stronger ties with Kenya and other African nations, it will need to offer deals that are even more attractive. China's investments have raised the standards for what African countries can expect from international partnerships. This includes significant projects like roads, railways, and ports, which have facilitated economic growth and development. Therefore, the US is expected to not only match but exceed these standards by providing more beneficial terms, higher quality projects, and additional support in areas like technology transfer, education, and healthcare. So, China's active role in Africa has set a high benchmark, and the US must offer competitive deals that provide tangible benefits to African nations. This competitive dynamic could ultimately be advantageous for countries like Kenya, as they might receive better offers and more substantial support from multiple global powers, contributing to their overall development and financial stability. Anyways, now the question is, what commitments have been secured from the US? President Ruto's visit has already resulted in several commitments from the US, including concessional loans and investment deals aimed at supporting Kenya's economic development. These commitments are expected to provide much-needed relief and investment for Kenya's economy. And how have US companies responded? President Ruto's visit to the United States has received a positive response from US companies, with major corporations like Microsoft and Coca-Cola announcing significant investment commitments. This endorsement underscores growing confidence in Kenya as a viable investment destination and is expected to catalyze further economic growth and development in the country. The commitments from companies like Microsoft and Coca-Cola signal a vote of confidence in Kenya's economic potential and stability. These investments are not only significant in terms of capital infusion, but also in terms of the expertise and technology transfer they bring. For example, Microsoft's investment may lead to advancements in technology infrastructure and digital innovation, while Coca-Cola's commitment could contribute to the expansion of manufacturing and distribution networks. Moreover, the endorsement from these prominent corporations is likely to attract additional investments from other US companies and international investors. This influx of capital and expertise can fuel job creation, spur entrepreneurship, and drive productivity gains across various sectors of the Kenyan economy. What are the potential announcements and developments expected in the coming days? The discussions between President Ruto and President Biden are anticipated to yield further announcements and developments in the coming days and weeks. These forthcoming outcomes may encompass a range of areas, including additional investment deals, security cooperation agreements, and initiatives aimed at enhancing bilateral relations and regional stability. Following the discussions, we can expect announcements of additional investment deals between Kenya and the United States. These deals may involve various sectors such as technology, infrastructure, healthcare, and renewable energy. They could further solidify economic ties between the two nations and contribute to Kenya's development goals. These agreements could strengthen Kenya's capacity to address security challenges and contribute to regional stability. They could further solidify economic ties between the two nations and contribute to Kenya's development goals. Given the importance of security cooperation in the region, there may be agreements reached on enhancing collaboration between Kenya and the U.S. in areas such as counterterrorism, cybersecurity, and maritime security. These agreements could strengthen Kenya's capacity to address security challenges and contribute to regional stability. The discussions are likely to lead to initiatives aimed at deepening bilateral relations between Kenya and the United States. This may include cultural exchanges, educational partnerships, and people-to-people connections. Strengthening these ties at various levels can foster mutual understanding and cooperation between the two nations. President Ruto and President Biden may also discuss initiatives aimed at promoting stability and security in the East African region. This could involve cooperation on regional conflicts, peacekeeping efforts, and economic integration projects. By working together, Kenya and the U.S. can play a constructive role in addressing regional challenges and promoting peace and prosperity. But why is continued dialogue and cooperation between Kenya and the U.S. crucial? Continued dialogue and cooperation between Kenya and the U.S. are imperative for addressing shared challenges, promoting mutual prosperity, and ensuring regional stability. President Ruto's visit to the United States lays the groundwork for a stronger partnership that can benefit both nations and contribute to a more equitable global order. By fostering deeper engagement and collaboration, Kenya and the U.S. can tackle pressing issues such as economic development, security threats, and regional conflicts more effectively. Together, they can leverage their respective strengths and resources to find innovative solutions to complex problems. Furthermore, a robust partnership between Kenya and the U.S. holds the potential to create new opportunities for trade, investment, and technological advancement. This can spur economic growth, create jobs, and improve the standard of living for people in both countries. Moreover, by working together, Kenya and the U.S. can play a pivotal role in promoting stability and peace in the East African region and beyond. Through joint efforts in areas such as conflict resolution, peace building, and humanitarian assistance, they can contribute to the long-term prosperity and security of the region. How can the U.S. convince Kenya to collaborate? Will it have to run an extra mile? To truly convince Kenya to collaborate, the United States needs to undertake a comprehensive and detailed approach that addresses Kenya's specific needs, concerns, and aspirations. The U.S. should conduct a thorough needs assessment in collaboration with Kenyan stakeholders, including government officials, civil society organizations, and local communities. This process should identify Kenya's most pressing challenges across various sectors such as healthcare, education, infrastructure, and agriculture. Based on the needs assessment, the U.S. should tailor assistance packages that directly address Kenya's priorities. This could include targeted financial aid, technical expertise, capacity building programs, and access to resources and technologies that align with Kenya's development goals. The U.S. should adopt a participatory approach that involves Kenyan stakeholders in the design, implementation, and evaluation of assistance programs. This ensures that interventions are contextually relevant, sustainable, and responsive to local needs and priorities. Collaboration should empower Kenyan leadership and institutions to take ownership of their development agenda. The U.S. should support efforts to strengthen governance, accountability mechanisms, and institutional capacity building to enhance Kenya's ability to effectively manage and implement development initiatives. It must approach collaboration with Kenya as a genuine partnership based on mutual respect, trust, and shared values. This means recognizing Kenya's sovereignty and agency in decision-making processes and refraining from imposing unilateral agendas or conditions. Development priorities and challenges evolve, requiring a flexible and adaptive approach to collaboration. The U.S. has to be responsive to changing circumstances and needs in Kenya, adjusting strategies, policies, and programs accordingly to ensure relevance and effectiveness. Collaboration between the US and Kenya should be guided by shared values such as democracy, human rights, and economic prosperity. The US needs to actively promote these values through collaborative initiatives that advance growth, social equity, and environmental sustainability. Will the US ever be good enough to replace China in Africa? Whether the US can effectively replace China in Africa is a complex question that depends on various factors and perspectives. While the US has traditionally been a major player in Africa, China's growing influence on the continent in recent years has reshaped the geopolitical landscape and raised questions about the US's ability to maintain its position of dominance. China has emerged as Africa's largest trading partner and a significant source of investment and infrastructure development. Its extensive economic presence, characterized by large-scale infrastructure projects, loans, and trade agreements, has contributed to rapid economic growth in many African countries. The US, on the other hand, has historically focused more on aid and development assistance, with its economic engagement often perceived as less robust compared to China's. China's Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) has facilitated the construction of critical infrastructure projects across Africa, including roads, railways, ports, and energy facilities. These investments have addressed infrastructure gaps and spurred economic development in various regions. While the US has also supported infrastructure development in Africa, its approach has been more project-specific and less extensive compared to China's. The US, meanwhile, has faced criticism for its perceived inconsistency in its engagement with Africa, and its tendency to prioritize security and geopolitical interests over development objectives. However, China's soft power has been on the rise, driven by its cultural diplomacy efforts, media outreach, and educational scholarships. Chinese cultural products, such as movies, music, and language programs, are increasingly popular in Africa, challenging American cultural dominance. Whether the US can effectively replace China depends on its ability to adapt its engagement strategies. Ultimately, the future dynamics of US-China competition in Africa will be shaped by a complex interplay of economic, political, and strategic factors. Do you think the US can convince Africa to have agreements? Is it just a political move, or does it mean anything? Let us know in the comments section. Do you think Kenya should choose the US over China? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.